Their seats are open there. We can leave one seat open for, we're gonna have people come up tonight, three different, I think, people are gonna speak tonight, you know. Come up to.
Hey, Doug.
Hello, how are you?
There's no one sitting at all these seats are mine.
You're so difficult to please. Hey, Doug, how are you? We're almost ready, we're just waiting for Chief. How far are we? That's what I figured. Okay, you pull on China. Now, China is tomorrow. So she can't vote today. She's voting right now. Dan, right? If it's working on tomorrow's date, you can't go in today.
Is that your loophole?
I don't know. Go back. What do I care? I'll make a big show. It's funny. Because that's what happened. She's a
We're behind. We're the one who's behind.
Yeah, so she's ahead. She's a day ahead.
So she gets extra.
Oh, is that the way? So right. She's got 24 hours to get, that's right. She's got actually 24 hours to consider everything he's saying. That's right.
I'll get back to life.
Oh, she's calling right now. Yeah. It's tomorrow, and I think it's.
But I gotta be inside the building.
She's got a call.
Oh, I see, it's a full replacement.
Just the old.
This is the
You're gonna be handled today. Bottles? Do you want water? Water. I have a refrigerator filled with this stuff. And Donald will get another one now. So it's going to be very thirsty. All right, everybody. We're on. She's here. Shh. There she is. She's here. We're ready to go. You're on, Russell. We're going to call attendance. Oh, approval of minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, I move that the board of directors approves the minutes, both open and closed session of the June 26, 2012 regular meetings.
Any discussion? Hearing none?
Certainly.
Hearing none? I'm going to move to vote, right? Okay, all in favor? Is it unanimous? Dan? Okay, unanimous. Good, done. Next. Is there any, we have other minutes, right? We're not doing anything else this time? Okay, next time we're going to knock them off in September? Okay, that'll be good. All right, excellent. Now, we have to introduce, yes. Peter Medianchi, right. He is our acting senior property manager. He's filling in nicely, and he's having a grand time. He's having a grand time. He loves this place. Okay, now we're ready.
Very good. Good evening, everyone. First major announcement, it wasn't something included in the board packet. It's something that came down today. We had an inspection from the Department of Buildings Best Squad today who found violations and some issues. The roof work is on a partial stop work order for all buildings, although facade and chimney work can continue from this point on. All of the details has yet to come to my desk. This just happened today. Once all the details are worked out, we have a local law meeting tomorrow, so we can determine what was the nature of the violations, who was responsible for the violations, and what caused the stop work order we received today. So as of today, all roof work has been suspended due to a Best Squad violation. However, facade and chimney work can continue. That was the number one thing. It wasn't on my agenda or in my report, but I wanted everyone to be aware of that issue. The next issue I just wanted to have an announcement on is the Irene update. We have been moving forward with various apartments. and I've been working with individual shareholders on their particular issues, on the challenges we are faced to work in their particular apartments. We have issued a number of rebates to shareholders who have received out-of-pocket deductibles with their insurance, only as they relate to property damages. There are several on the chopping block to be performed in the near future. One of our challenges was the asbestos abatement in apartments. To complete an asbestos abatement in an occupied unit has been very challenging, and we were only able to accomplish 1 or 2 at this stage of the game due to the logistics of the size of the apartment and the decontamination unit needed to set up for the asbestos abatement. We've been working with the city and state. Both have to be involved in a variance to remove the decontamination unit outside of the particular unit, and we filed for variances. Normally, this process takes 2 to 3 weeks. We are now going on our 5th or 6th week working with the state and city agencies, the Department of Environmental Protection and the EPA as well, to work through our variances to allow us to do work in these units. Overall, we're still working through the logistics of only those units that the decontamination unit cannot fit in the apartments. Another announcement I'd like to make is based on a recommendation by Mr. Andy Ackerman to Cooper Square and the board president. We have received additional help in the area of accounting from Cooper Square Realty, where we'll have additional accounting personnel here every Friday working with us on 8 accounting issues, whether they be account receivables or account payables. Mr. Dodona negotiated this with Cooper Square at no cost to the shareholders for additional help in our accounting areas.
When does it start?
It had started last Friday, and this Friday will be the next Friday. I'm working with this additional accounting personnel.
What prompted the
Several factors included to, most importantly, have been the AP issues, accounts payable issues, invoices not being paid on time. We experienced.
I just want to check that.
Please.
I have a question.
Wait, Chief, we'll get to you.
There were some challenges with the procedures that Cooper Square generally applies and some of the requirements that we had to comply with Morningside, like invoices being approved and checks being signed, and so there were some challenges with the back and forth. And since the transition, it surfaced more recently, some of the older invoices that had not been paid, still hadn't been paid. There were some, there are explanations to why they hadn't been, but we felt that collectively, and Larry had approached us and said that there was a recommendation that we try to provide more support, and we agreed that with somebody here, there would be a more immediate way to address some of the challenges that we have. And we're looking to print checks from here so that we don't have to back and forth between the main office and there also.
Do you want to keep going on that topic? Go back to Chief's question.
No, I think we've taken.
Yeah, I have a question.
Well, listening, Chief.
My question is related to the partial stop order.
Oh, you're back one. Okay.
Is it like all room or just a particular building room stop order?
All building roofs at this point in time.
Oh.
And we have no idea how long it'll be. Hopefully we'll know more tomorrow after our meeting.
Right, today was the inspector was on site. We have the verbal notification. The written report from the inspector has to go through the DOB and be processed, and then we'll get the full accounting of it by tomorrow. And what is needed to clear the stop work order as well.
Okay, Chief? Thank you.
Hey.
So I have a question, sorry. And so that means all the weekend work will also have to stop. So I think you should be back to the expediting.
Right, for the expediting for the roof work, which was
All these
approved for
stuff,
Saturday,
yeah.
will not go on this Saturday.
Until we.
Correct. On the tail end of that, I'd like to add that what prompted the inspection today was a call from someone, somewhere, somehow. That's obviously we're not privy to the information of who makes this call or who makes these complaints. But what prompted this visit today was a complaint called in to the Department of Buildings.
I have what it has to do with the effect that it has on taking down the brickwork from between 1 and 2. Does this have any impact on that?
Possibly. I don't have an exact answer for that as I sit here today. However, we're unable to, if we're delayed, say, a month, to work to continue the routes of 1 and 2, yes, that would obviously delay the roof work and the dismantling of the sidewalk bridge. If they are simple fixes to alleviate the stop work order, we could start back on the routes as soon as possible.
May I suggest that management put out notices in the elevator lobbies and to in public areas, a memo to the effect that if anyone sees a problem with any of the work done out here, that they immediately call the management office, or after hours, call security, do not call the city.
Actually, they should call, actually,
Yeah, the
I would
mic.
change that to
Use the
say.
microphone, please.
What Alfred was saying is that we'd like management to put out a memo in all the building elevator lobbies, informing everyone that they should, if they see something wrong with the work, they should call in immediately. But instead of saying the office, I would say always call into public safety. That would be the desirable place, because they should be the ones to get the response, and then they can, because they're meeting that booth all the time. There's no delay, it's gonna be picked up. So I think that would be a great idea, all right?
I would be careful, I'm sorry.
Yes, John?
I just want to know what exactly the violation was.
It developed, it started with a violation call. My understanding is I spoke with site safety managers while they were here. And they said it was a very unusual thing because the gentleman, the best squad gentleman, was on the phone being told whatever he had to be told, and he was taking them around. And while he was taking around, he found more things that he shouldn't have seen. The good thing is that they kept him away from the chimney. They said, we never walk him near the chimney. I wouldn't walk near the chimney, it's depressing. But, I mean, the point is they kept him away from the chimney. And so we have a violation not only in Brand, we have a violation for civilians getting on the elevator with workers who have tools in their hands. He went out of his mind over that. And it happened in front of him. He was on the elevator with the Brand worker going up to the roof or something, wound up in the basement. Our people got on, and the site safety guy was with them, and they tried to, come on, but they got on, and then he went bonkers. That's my understanding, went bonkers. It was Brand worker, our site safety manager, the best guy, and then it went to the basement, and our people, shareholders, got on the elevator because it stopped and they want to get
Oh,
up.
so they're on it with these people.
Right, and that's a bad
So
thing.
allow me to clarify for that. Generally, what we do is if Brand needs the elevator for construction use, they notify us, we have an order, meet with them, we'll put it on independent, so no, it won't stop on any floor call. They'll escort everyone up to the roof and come back, turn it back over to shareholder use, take it off independent. What happened today was, of course, is the timing. The best one is there, so it made it look as though that we had no construction elevator. That the unit owner just walked onto the elevator with the inspector, which is not allowed. But it was only being ridden with the inspector. It wasn't a construction matter where they were taking up materials. So that's one of the issues I heard of as well. Some of the other issues were with the temporary insulation that we put on the roofs to keep in the heat in the winter, the heat out in the summer. The details of all of the violations which caused for the stop work order, I'm not privy to, just some of the conversations I had today. The full written report will be generated in the Department of Building System, and we should have it by tomorrow. On that end, we have a scheduled local law meeting tomorrow, and we'll discuss this with our architects and Brand on all of the issues we are presently aware of.
Doug, you had something going on?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if we put out a notice about this, we should not say the notice on the call.
Right.
cannot put that. Two reasons.
No, I didn't say don't call them.
No, that's what I'm.
Oh, no, they should call directly to the office.
So I'm saying the notice should not refer calling or not calling the office.
No,
Correct.
no, we agree.
If you have a complaint, please call us immediately.
It'll be taken care of immediately.
But I do think it would be okay to make a reference to why the job is currently shut down. I think it should say that. People need to know if there's not work and they can read between the lines. And there's always to say, call to,
It's not,
Can I make a recommendation that talking about reading between the lines of what is and is not seen, not be discussed right now?
we're not discussing it. I don't want to discuss it.
Okay.
I was just going to do that, but you wanted to say it, it's fine. I want to move forward. So anyhow, we're up to,
All right, another general announcement I'd like to make with everyone in regard to laundry room operations. Last week, we met with McCray Laundry Services. Overall, for the time period of this year, our service calls on our machines have been down compared to last year on a statistical basis. However, we felt there was too much downtime with machines in the laundry room. They weren't being repaired on a timely basis, especially when it comes to the extractor and some of the dryers in the various buildings. Depending where you live, you may have experienced this inconvenience or not. However, to address this, McRae has agreed to 2 sightly week visits on a preventative maintenance basis to come and check our machines. Not sit idling by, waiting for a complaint to come in and responding. They will actually send out somebody every 2 weeks to check on our laundry room operations. Again, this is something we are including, consider part of their contract and will be not at no additional expense to the Morningside residents.
And not every 2 weeks, but twice a week.
I'm sorry.
Twice a week.
Twice a week, 2 times per week.
you want to go right to the motion?
All right. To conclude my section of my management report, I have 2 open session recommended motions for the board to consider. The first one would be moved that the board of directors approve urban arborists to provide services to survey and assess all trees and shrubs and provide instructions and advice for their long-term care for a price not to exceed $5,100.
I move it. Well, second, so you can speak then.
Basically, I'm just wondering, are we being premature with this? I mean, the work's not done. The place does look like it's in disrepair. It sounds now it's a stop work order. It sounds like it's going to remain in disrepair for a long time. Won't starting this up now mean a lot of this is going to end time and energy? Should we wait until some of these people move down and then to address?
In the respect of the trees and shrubs, I don't believe so. I believe that thought process would be good when it comes to the planting beds and maybe the grassy areas. But the trees and the shrubbery, they are still exposed. They're behind netting in most of the areas, not all, but in most of the areas. And the earlier we could assess the condition of the trees and what may be needed to help the trees, the earlier the better, I would see. I would believe. Some of these trees are 50 plus years old. They've been here from the birth of the gardens. And you can't even imagine the cost of replacing a mature tree that has been cultivated in spot as it has been in the Morningside Garden. So the earlier we can truly determine what is needed for long-term care and even possibly get the recommendations back on what more we can do while this project is going on, it, I believe, really help the association.
I would be concerned to follow up that the scope of work is broader than it needs to be, at least initially. Like, I don't want to pay for more than what we're getting at least initially. So that would be, just as you narrowed it to the trees and shrubs, maybe that's something that ought to be considered to the scope of work.
Well,
That's just a point I'm making.
okay, the scope of work for this, for the arborist is exclusively for the trees and shrubs.
That's what it says in the
Oh,
motion.
okay, all right, that is right. Okay.
Okay, Mike, go ahead.
I just wanted to add to what Russell was saying is that,
I have a question.
Well, I'll be right there, Chief.
is that part of the recommendations that he's making are to do preventive work for the trees that have already been damaged by some of the construction so that there's no further damage. So part of it is just to make sure that the roots are protected, that especially with building pies, some of the work that's been done is being handled in the way that should have been all along. And there was also concern about branches around the complex that could potentially be hazardous, so that was part of the assessment that was going to be used to give us an estimation what needs work right now, what could potentially be insurance to be broken into the complex, and what should be addressed now, what's covered in the scaffolding, the same, should it be a leader, so these are the two things.
Chief.
Yeah, my question regarding this motion is that, I think they are doing an assessment, right? A survey and an assessment. And I'm sure that they will provide a report at the end of their work. And how long it will take them to do this survey?
So Chief, this gentleman has been on site already prior to getting any contract from us. I think he's been on site 2 times or 3 times? 2 times. He's already assessed and done, and he's just, what's holding up anything right now is the contract to put him under. And once we do that, I believe we'll have a report rather rapidly from him.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is operating?
Well,
Then
this is
there's another motion following this one.
Right, this would be operating because it's not directly related, but the next one is gonna be more than operating, it's gonna be capital. At least I believe so, right?
Yes.
Okay, so, anything else? No? I'm gonna move the question. Ready? All in favor? It's unanimous. Oh, wait, Chief, is it unanimous?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, second motion.
The second motion is on the same vein. Move that the Board of Directors approve Urban Arborist to provide services to consult with Ways and Means during the exterior construction project at Building 5 and prune and transplant trees, transplant plants as necessary for their protection. This is for a price not to exceed $1,110 as a capital expense because it relates to the protection of local law 11.
Second? I moved it. Second. Okay. Now, Andy, go ahead.
So I understand this is capital, but what about just regular pruning? I think we have a lot of trees in pruning here. Is someone doing that? Do we have any maintenance, just operational pruning going on?
Currently, no. There are some of the volunteers who were pruning trees. Part of the 5,100 would be instruction for our grounds committee and members to understand what is needed to be done on pruning of the trees.
Yes, Mitch.
And I think what the recommendation was that whatever was reachable within, distance, we didn't know that people who knew what they were doing, but anything above, they needed ladders or whatever, we didn't want them either. So the assumption was that.
Well done.
So there's only somewhere in the future, we're gonna
That-
take care
that-
of pruning higher branches.
That's part of it.
Yeah, right. That would probably be under contract with someone.
Right, that would be under contract, and it would also be
We can deal
under,
with that at some point.
it would be based off of their recommendations on what they feel is needed for the health of our
Sure.
trees.
How was this contractor selected?
We've actually went through I believe I met with 2 to 3 arborists. In addition to that, the grounds committee met with an additional 2 to 3. I made a recommendation to the grounds committee on this particular arborist. In total, they met with 5 to 6 various arborists, and they agreed. They thought Urban Arborist was one of the best ones, price-wise and work-wise.
And he's very impressive. But when you walk with him, he's a very impressive fellow.
I'm just glad there's more than one.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm just
Absolutely.
glad there's more than one. Thank you.
More than one.
Oh, okay. It mumbled in my head here. Okay. Any other discussion? No? All right, let's move it. All in favor? Unanimous.
Yeah.
Oh, she, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I have to remember, she's on that phone. All right, so we're done with open session,
Right,
correct?
I'm done with open session
Okay,
management report.
so now we're up to committee reports. I'm going to change the order for the time being. I'm going to go with tenant selection first. Alfred? Okay.
So, wait a minute, what's the process here?
I'm going to, it says committee reports. I'm going to Alfred first, tenant
I don't
selection.
understand, we have things in capital projects in
Yeah.
session here, why are we covering it all?
When did you read it?
There's
Yeah, we got-
a
yeah.
wall in, there's a chimney.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I apologize. I you know. Listen,
Many times I keep things in the board report that I don't necessarily report on in the open.
We got a motion coming out.
yeah. Yeah, because of the recommended motion you have.
Oh, actually,
Right? No, that's an open motion.
no, it was an open motion, but,
I apologize. Good.
right, 2 additional items to address, the chimney replacement project. I'd like to read the progress we have received from the past 2 weeks. Please note this report was dated July 24th. Was the last report we received from our engineers. So for the past 2 weeks prior to July 24th, we were completed the form for the chimney base, the rebar form and anchor bolts, and we finally have received the best squad's approval for phase 2 of the work. Best squad approval for phase 2 of the work is the rigging necessary to lower a scaffold above the chimney to drop in the next higher sections of the chimney. Please note that the stop work order received for the roof work today does not extend to the chimney project, which is a really good thing. So we're able to continue with the chimney project. What we were scheduled to complete by the end of last week was the pouring of the concrete base and the testing and analysis for the concrete. I know for a fact that as of today, that did not happen. I was on site and I need the updated report on what is the delay. Why wasn't the concrete base poured by Thursday or Friday, and we're into Tuesday of this week, and that portion still has not been done. I don't have a report on that as of yet. For local law 11, the initial report pretty much says it all on where we are with our current standing with our partial stock work orders. Before that, I was looking to report to everyone that local law was moving along as expected and as per schedule. However, we did receive that bit of news today. I was prepared to make a recommendation to the board on the, I'll make the recommended motion to the board now. Move that the board of directors approve JMA to continue to act as an owner's representative for the local law balcony roof project at a cost not to exceed $3,840 for the remainder of the project as a capital expense.
I'll move that motion.
Second.
Does that mean per month?
Yeah, it should be per month.
That would be per month,
Per
yes,
month.
not to exceed $340,000 per month.
That would be
It's good to
That
know.
would, yeah.
Okay, so, does someone want to speak to this motion now? Is there a hand?
I mean, it strikes me, given, especially, I mean, if the news today just puts an exclamation point on it, stop work order, you know, that, yes, there's a schedule, and yes, we sort of know that the project's gonna take time, and you can say that some of this is on autopilot, but it really is not. And there are a number of factors in reading the JMA report that, really point to constant vigilance in management. I want to just say, number one is the workforce. And, we've been constantly kind of like given not as many guys as we need for this project. And we've got to constantly ride herd on them to get that. Number two is the issue brought up about CTA and how really their contract said that they're supposed to be doing 3 site visits a week. Apparently they've not been doing that. Now, that's, and nobody really kind of called them on that. So, it's great that we have this kind of moment in time report from JMA, but going on, this is a project, this is a multi-million-dollar, multi-year project, highly complex, that I think requires at the minimum, a consultant and problem solver that can help us through these things. I also want to point out that the contract with Cooper Square specifically does not include major capital projects, management of major capital projects. And even if it did, well, first of all, it doesn't. And this is a big time, it takes a lot of time and attention. But I think it's better that Cooper and Russell in particular is much better spent, helping us operate the ongoing workings of Morningside Gardens. Alfred?
Make it first. Make it first. You have to make it first before you speak.
My motion?
Yes.
Yes, there's a motion on the floor.
Right. You want,
So I can't.
you can substitute. You're entitled to substitute. It's a completely different motion.
Would it be allowed?
He's allowed to make a substitute motion, and if it's a seconded, it has to be dealt with first before you deal with the main motion.
No, you can amend it, but you could ask me to withdraw it. If there's a motion on, you gotta vote it up or down.
That's right.
Why are you talking?
Sorry, I'm
Why is
sorry.
everybody talking? This is the board. You're all guests, quiet. I believe it is appropriate that a substitute motion may be made on the floor and second, and discussion can go to the substitute motion first. It can be voted up or down. If it's voted up, the primary motion is defeated. If it's voted down, then we go to the secondary motion.
Completely not the case, and I'm gonna keep this motion on the floor until you get a read from Robert's rules, specifically from Robert's rules. This is what it is, that is not the case at all. I mean, I appreciate your assertiveness, I mean, it's just not true.
That's fine. If you challenge the chair, it's fine. In terms of challenging the chair.
Chair substitute.
Yeah, but this is not an agenda. This is a parliamentary.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay. Well, why don't we take a minute? Take a minute.
I'll get some coffee.
There is coffee. That's all we get now.
There's some extra.
Because I figured anything else encourages us to be here at 2 o'clock.
Okay, here's what, hold on.
No, I'm the revised one. He's got to change the last piece. All right, wait, we're getting your business. Yes.
Make motion, approve new business before the assembly, divide the motion into 2 or more separate motions. Must be able to stand on their own.
We're talking about that.
Read further.
Get copies of this. Okay.
Before the motion is stated by the chair, members may suggest modification of the motion. The mover can modify as he pleases, or even withdraw the motion without consent of the seconder. If the mover modifies, the seconder can withdraw the second. The immediately pending question is the last question stated by the chair. Motion postponed. The member moving the immediately pending question is entitled to preference on the floor. No member can speak twice as is just a moment how much to speak.
Well, he's still over the motion, he spoke, which is correct. Now, the question is, what, does it say anything there about substitute motions?
We want free advice.
Free advice.
The Robert's rule.
All right, so introduce me, I move that second, okay. This tag, postpone indefinitely is to kill a motion, we don't want that. Amend, this is the process used to change a motion under consideration. Perhaps you like the idea proposed, but not exactly as offered, raise your hand and make the following motion. I move to amend the motion on the floor. This also requires a second. After the motion to amend is seconded, a majority vote is needed to decide whether the amendment is
All right.
accepted. Then a vote is taken on the amended motions.
So he can amend the motion.
But he's doing a.
No, he could amend the
separate-
motion by stating his motion, getting a second, is what you're saying. He's gonna change the motion.
You can make friendly amendment to the motion.
No, he's gonna make a motion to amend the motion, is what you're reading.
Except he's not amending it, he's basically doing a 180 on it.
Right, you can move to amend it, and you could move to amend and substitute. So you can do that. Go ahead, move to amend and substitute.
Right. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Because I think that's what we were trying to get at. And you need a second for it.
So we need a second.
All right, so you want to move to amend and substitute.
Right.
Okay? And before you speak, you gotta get a second on that. Is there a second on that? Okay, there's a second. Now you may speak.
Okay, what I'm gonna do is just read the motion itself as opposed to all the whereases.
Now, read the whole whereas, because that's part of your motion, your whole thing.
I would read the whole thing.
That's fine with me as well. Whereas JMA Consultants has fulfilled its obligation as the owner's representative for the local law and facade, balcony, and roof restoration project under its initial 4-month, $16,000 agreement of April 18, 2012 to review, observe, evaluate, and critique the decisions, execution, and management by Dr. George Tuman and Alan Starr Architects at CTA, and Brent Renovation whereas JMA finds that the significant increase in the project timeline is not due to the performance of CTA or Brent, but is largely related to significant expansion in the scope of the project itself, due to actual soundings performed once work began as opposed to the visual inspections conducted before the start of the project, and unexpected and historical changes in DOB regulations, its Department of Buildings regulations and policies during the course of the project, which led to protracted stop work orders. And whereas JMA is largely in agreement with the decisions and management by CTA and the coordination and quality of work performed by Brent, considering both to be well within industry standards, and whereas JMA considers the working relationship between CTA and Brent to be amenable and constructive, and whereas JMA reports indicate that the only major issues it has with CTA are the frequency of its location visits and the amount of pressure it brings to bear on the site safety managers to assertively perform their functions for the corporation, which issues CTA has agreed to address appropriately, and whereas JMA reports indicate that the only major issue it has with Brent is the number of workers it has on site at any one time, which numbers Brent has increased recently, while also demonstrating that the numbers JMA recommends are usually not practicable, and whereas it is estimated that more than 70% of the total work project has now been completed, and whereas it has performed admirably in discharging its owner's obligation to date, it is still felt that JMA will have an increasingly diminished impact on the Local Law 11 project as it proceeds. It is hereby resolved that going forward, the Board of Directors will not sign a long-term contract with JMA for own services, but will only extend its contract on a limited month-to-month basis as a capital expense.
Yes.
First of all, is that now moved and seconded?
No, that was done before you.
Oh, all right. Is this
You can't hear anything back here.
John
Here,
said.
here, where's it?
Yes.
All right,
We're with you.
all right,
So you're here?
no offense, Albert, but
I
is,
have a question.
Okay.
right.
Janet first, then you. Okay.
all right, no offense, Albert, but if I didn't know this kid come from a board member, I would have thought it came from Bren's and CTA's lawyers. Because there are whereas clauses here that, for some reason, seem to have the effect, I think, of completely absolving CTA and Bren of any potential liability, which I don't think is in our interest to do. I would object to the first, second, and third whereas clauses. The first whereas clause says, particularly objectionable is the first sentence, whereas JMA finds that the significant increase in the project timeline is not due to the performance of CTA or Brent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then, of course, we know in the JMA report that there are problems with Brent and CTA. There's specific problems, but also JMA indicated that they didn't generate as detailed a report for us because they wanted to keep costs down. So I wouldn't include the first whereas clause. I think it completely absolves CTA and Brent, and I don't think that's in our interest.
Jeanette, I have to interrupt you. You're not arguing the whereas, you're arguing the resolution.
Right, but...
And you're not talking about putting in or taking out, you're arguing whether or not the resolution as presented now is correct or not correct. So you can refer to the whereases, but it's not going in or out. It's the whole thing is one motion.
Okay, well, I'd like to express my objections to at least parts of the vote.
I want you to do that, but I just want to explain it's not going in or out.
All right.
There it is.
I'd like to just basically bring these points up, but I understand what you're saying. Second whereas clause, whereas JMA is largely in agreement with the decisions and management by CTA and the coordination and quality of work performed by Brent. That, again, same objection. Why are we covering for CTA and Brent when we could have potential claims, and this has the effect, I think, of absolving them for any deficiencies thus far. Third whereas clause, whereas JMA considers the working relationship between CTA and Brent to be amenable and constructive, I think is unnecessary, and I would strike that as well. The fourth and fifth whereas clause, the language there says that whereas JMA reports indicate that the only major issues, I object to the word only. It's clear from the report that they only touch upon what they could, given the cost of the report. So I would strike the word only from that whereas clause and from the subsequent whereas clause. And same objection to the word only in the resolve clause of this motion. Okay, that's basically, I just wanted to express those thoughts.
I think she's on the phone next. I have to.
This is responding to her.
But we got it.
I got it.
Okay, Chief. No offense, but we got to follow this rules.
So I just want to make sure I am clear that revise the motion saying that the DMA service is on a month-to-month basis. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's what the resolve, it says, I'll read it to you again. Resolve that going, I'm gonna read, resolve that going forward, the Board of Directors will not sign a long-term contract with JMA for owner's rep services, but will only extend its contract on a limited month-to-month basis as a capital expense.
Okay, thanks. And then, the other question is that, does Russell know how many times the JMA comes, like in each month?
Yes, Russell will answer.
Once a week?
Well, up till now, for the production of the report, they were coming approximately twice per week. The ongoing recommendation, bless you, for their continued involvement would be twice a month, every 2 weeks. They would come on site and attend the local law meetings.
Anything else, Chief?
So, yeah, I kind of agree not to sign them for long term, but if you say limited service for like month to month, do we have at least maybe 6 months or something? Because who will decide or stop their service? I think the board will decide, right?
Yes.
Oh,
Only the board can decide that.
okay.
So so you just asked the question.
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
for to have JMA presence for now. I don't know for how long we need it, but I think at present we really need their service.
Okay. Andy?
I like the resolution, but I think Jeanette makes a very good point. I'm not a lawyer. Maybe Beth can weigh in, or one of the other lawyers around here. But maybe instead of objecting, you move to amend.
Yeah, we'll move to.
Or make a friendly amendment.
Yeah.
You can do that too.
Well, we,
Go ahead, Jeanette.
now
First,
we'll
let's do-
accept the amendment, but basically, obviously, I need to delete the first, second, third whereas clauses and the words only from the fourth and fifth whereas clauses.
Any objection to that?
Don't you mean the fifth and sixth? Am I reading it right?
The second, third, and fourth, and
Only, look, isn't only in the fifth and sixth?
Here as one. We're gonna count that one as one.
Only
Oh,
here.
this one, oh, right, I'm sorry, right, second, third, and fourth.
I also have a question. Yeah, well, could we, I appreciate what's happening here, but can we continue going in order?
Well,
with our
wait, she made a
comments?
friendly, wait, she made a
No,
friendly
it's
amendment.
not her turn to speak. She spoke, I'm like, I'm up. Well, just-
I feel like
bear
you're
with-
up.
Bear with me, okay? We can come back, okay, go ahead, go. I'd like to say, I wholeheartedly agree with what Jeanette said. I would ask you to consider withdrawing all the whereas clauses. There's nothing in here that helps us. There's just no need for it. Let's get to the point. Jeanette, everything Jeanette says, it can only hurt us. Nothing's a big deal, but there's nothing else. So I'd like you to consider just withdrawing the whereas clauses. And so let's get to the.
and in terms of the whereas clauses, do you mean, I would keep the first, I guess technically the whereas clause. Can anyone hear me?
You
No.
really don't need any more clauses for the motion. You
Yeah,
go right to the
first
resolution.
paragraph, down to the resolve.
Let's start with this one.
Start with resolve.
Yeah, because-
As long as it's understood.
Can I make a recommendation if that's the case? My original motion that was brought forth, the tail end of my motion was for the remainder of the project as a capital expense for the time frame. If I would amend my original motion to be on a month-to-month basis as determined by the needs of the project, that pretty much sums up this motion without the whereases.
I would say, yeah.
Right, so if you would withdraw your motion completely, I would amend mine to be a month-to-month. Would the board willing to discuss
Are
and
you-
vote on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Alfred's motion's withdrawn. Okay? Finished. Now,
So here's
read your motion.
here's the amended motion on the table. I'll amend this, my original motion on the
Can I
table.
just, before you,
Okay.
can I just finish, my other thing was I wanted to ask, has anybody talked to, Jamie about?
He has,
Are they
yes.
willing, could you tell us?
Yes, that's it. No longer-
What are they willing to do?
No long-term contract is needed for the duration. I believe it wasn't even in the report. No, they are willing to come on a month-to-month basis as we believe we need it. I can call them next week and say, please don't come back, and they'll say fine.
End of discussion.
That's it. So, just read it out loud so everyone hears it one time. Can you read it out loud?
One point of clarification on that, that it's 8 to 12 hours per month. That's what it
Okay.
says in the,
How much, what?
8 to 12 hours per month, 2 to 3 hours per week. 6 to 12 hours per month. They said it.
Okay, so that would encompass probably the local law 11 meeting every 2 weeks plus one site visit for 2 to 3
Yeah,
hours.
or whatever, I mean, I'm sure they'd be working from their offices. too. It's not-
So you're amending it by saying.
No, that's, I'm just clarifying.
Clarifying the amount of
It's
time they would spend on site.
Yes, but that should be, I believe that should be in the motion, because that's what we're paying for. So if we do that, Dan, where would you put it? That's what I'm asking. Move to the board?
Well, I went to the next,
Can I say that you're not exceeding $300
for 8 to 12 hours worth of services.
Oh, so not to exceed is automatically the hours, right? Okay, Dan, not to exceed means the hours are covered. Yeah, that's it, fine. Okay.
340.
That's the 12 hours.
So,
12 hours.
so this is the way the motion reads. Move. Board of Directors approve JMA to continue to act as owner's representative for the local law 11 balcony roof project at a cost not to exceed $38.40 per month, month to month, as a capital expense. Good? And now we had a second, so it's on the floor. Any more discussion? No? We're going to vote. All in favor? It's unanimous. There it is. Oh, gee, is it unanimous? Oh, thank God. I worry about that voice. Okay. All right, that's done. All right, good. Now, we finished open session. Everybody agree? We're now up to tenant selection.
Oh, good session, yeah.
Right. But we switched them. I went to tenant selection first because this is an issue. Go ahead.
Okay. Tenant selection.
Oh, you can get a sign.
Is it
Oh.
from here?
I got it. That's it. Go ahead, Alfred, I'm sorry.
Okay, I just have a brief summary report for tenant selection. I'm keeping it brief for the reason, this microphone. Right. Well,
Can't hear.
this is going in and out.
It's on.
Yes.
But
All right, here we go.
I'm just going to do a brief report.
Just speak louder.
Okay, very brief because Frank is going to also do, Frank is going to do a rather extended presentation himself.
No good.
Pardon?
You gotta speak loud.
Okay, forget the microphone.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
I just said that tenant selection unanimously approved 8 applications in July, over 2 meetings. We also approved 3 in June. The fact that there were 2 meetings in July is significant. We're going to now 2 meetings a month because sales are picking up enough so that there are too many people to interview at a single meeting in a month. So that's good news. Year to date, there have been 18 closings. That compares to 7 closings through July last year, and to 19 in total for all of 2011. Flip taxes through July are $883,000 compared to $367,000 in 2011, and the total for 2011 was $957,000. So we're actually already close to that already. There are currently 51, now I agreed to report several days ago, I think Frank has some updates, but there are currently 51 apartments on the market. 20 12 of these markets have a closing date to be determined. 8 of the apartments on the market have been listed since April of 2012, and 4 of these new, the existing units are awaiting closing dates. There are 6 board packet submissions pending, meaning that they have gone through the process and they will probably get through tenant selection committee soon. There are 45 additional units now that are not spoken for. 10 are being shown by outside brokers, and 35 are being shown by the sales and transfer office. I'll just say that there is no advantage looking at the trend, although there's a small sample. There doesn't appear to be an advantage to listing apartments by outside brokers. Frank will go into the reasons for that. But those that are being sold by sales and transfer that have gone on the market within the last year are selling a lot faster than those that are going to outside brokers.
You want to do your next thing? You have a motion on the page, is it?
On my last month, I had we had brought forth the tenant selection committee motion to have the board limit the time the apartment could be sublet if on the market for only 2 years. There was concern, and the reasoning for that was that it is felt that some apartments are being sublet until prices can they can get a better price for their apartment. It was felt legitimately that this might not be fair, that there may be those who are simply unlucky they're not getting any calls for buyers for their apartments, but the price was fair. I checked with the sales office. The sales office has the capabilities and has for a while to track the prices of apartments that are of similar types, what they're selling for. They know what the asking prices for the apartments are, and that's basically one of the reasons apartments are selling a lot faster than gone to the market recently, because when they start the process, sales and transfer immediately gives them the information that's relevant for their apartment, so that they don't go out with, let's say, much higher than unrealistically high expectations for what their units can sell for, and they're turning around very quickly. The board, the tenant selection committee went back with this information and basically voted again that we would refer to revert to the 2-year limit that had existed previously before 2009 for all units, whether sublets, whether on the market or shareholders.
So read the motion, please, because it's coming from the committee.
So the motion would be moved, and this is slightly different than what you have in the packet. Move the board limits the time of apartment can be sublet to 2 years.
If on the market,
Well,
to 2 years.
regardless of what.
Oh, either, we're doing it, we're changing it?
Yeah.
To 2 years, so that's a blanket for everything.
Yes.
There's no second necessary, because it's from the committee. Any other discussion? Chief, any? Okay, anybody else? Maitri.
So what would be the process and what would happen next? So if the apartment is then, what would happen after 2 years? What would the process be?
Then the sublet would not be extended. I mean, there are exceptions. We extended one for another month
Yes.
because there was no notice, or the person there needed time to find an apartment. So, we extended that month.
Then the person just picks up the cost.
That's it.
And so it just works like that.
Exactly.
Exactly. And that's how it had been prior to March of 2009.
And do you have a sense of how many, like currently, how many apartments are fall into this category? Like how large is this group in the
I think these are about 6.
6 that are.
Frank will be here later,
Frank
but
is
we'll have
here.
more Frank.
Frank's here, Larry.
It's okay. It's okay. He's gonna report later to the board. I believe it's about 6.
So it's
Frank
a
will
6
Frank will clarify it.
out of the 15.
Yes, so there's some that are asking for additional sublets, or on the sublets, those are asking quite for it, and to see how far out of line it is compared to, reasonable process. And that clearly indicates that there's just going on until the whole
other discussion? Hearing none, we're going to a vote. All in favor of this resolution, raise your hands, please.
Yes.
That's 9. All opposed?
I don't oppose anything.
2 abstentions. Okay? Done. Sharon, would you come to the table? Someone give her a microphone.
Thank you.
Sharon Lockhart Carter, the Grounds Committee Chairperson. Give a brief report. Before she speaks, I want to pay her a compliment. I don't know if you noticed all the work that's been done, what Amsterdam Avenue looks like, what our grounds look like. There's a big change in the grounds this year, and I'm concerned for the plants that brought us an arborist who's very knowledgeable. And we're really actually able to save some of these 57-year-old, 58-year-old trees that we have on the grounds. Sharon.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for allowing me a couple of minutes to talk about this. We also have some other grounds committee members in the audience, and so I want to acknowledge that this has been a combined effort of people who were on the grounds committee when I came into the position of chair, who brought their expertise, very hardworking. I really believe they're some of the hardest working folk on the Upper West Side. Just to let you know, as you have seen, some of the work that we've done, the tree bed sprucing on Amsterdam Avenue, 123rd Street, tending to the cypress trees that we were given by the Parks Department. And our vision has been that however you enter the garden's property, you're met first with color and flowers as opposed to scaffolding. So I think we've achieved that. So no matter how you enter the property, you're going to see some color, some flowers, and then there's been a lot of work done on the upper lawn, which I think really is beautiful. People have been respectful of the upper lawn. We've seen some really nice things going on there. What has also been nice is that the tree beds have been adopted by the merchants, Nico, Dwayne Reed, the Met, and so they water and take care of the tree beds, and we're happy to say that the plant material is still there.
Amazingly so. Amazingly so.
We came up with a way to communicate with shareholders, the leaflet, which you may have seen. We'll be sending out another version of that very soon. In addition, we have asked a resident expert, and there are several resident experts on birds, but we're going to add to the trees of Morningside Gardens the birds of Morningside Gardens and come up with a little pamphlet. And Joyce Hyatt has agreed to help us with that. Also, we are collaborating with the Children's Learning Center, and what we'd like to do is build raised beds, which are perfect for children, but also perfect for folks who are confined to sitting, perhaps in wheelchairs, to do planting. Several of our shareholders who want to plant, who would love to garden, simply cannot get down on their knees, and they can't. So the Children's Learning Center and the Grounds Committee are collaborating to build raised beds, and we've spoken to someone who's willing to help us to do that when the scaffolding comes down. As you know, we put forth a candidate for arborist, and I just want to speak to a couple of points that are critical to mention. Number one, you saw the New York Times articles about falling tree limbs. We have not had a survey since the severe weather, specifically Hurricane Irene and some of that severe weather. We lost some trees. We also had a limb fall from a tree in front of Building 6. And we just happened to look and it had fallen. When Bill Logan came, when another candidate, Karsten Glazer, came, Bruce McInnes, they won't walk the grounds with us, and they have said that there are tree limbs that could present a liability because some of them need to be pruned yesterday. And so that was our urgency about getting the arborist on, because we have issues that need to be addressed immediately. In addition, Building 5 has some trees that are very precious and they need to be pruned. And basically, before you do any construction work, an arborist should come in to prepare the ground, mulch the soil, prevent compacting, and that's why we were so urgent about getting this done. The survey, I believe I heard a question about how long would the survey take. we were fortunate enough to get an electronic version from Bruce McGinnis of the survey. And so that's going to cut down the amount of time that's spent. It's going to save us a lot of money. I shop at Marshall's, not Bloomingdale's. So. And so what we're going to do is he will work off of that electronic version, which will save a lot of time because he'll have the Excel spreadsheet and he'll be able to add it and amend it as needed. We do have some presenting problems. A couple of which I just want to bring to your attention. The irrigation sprinkler system is really, it's gone. And so the water comes on in the middle of the heat of the day. So right, the water waters and then the heat saps it up. So I spoke with Bill Logan, who actually teaches for New York Botanical. He gave us the name of the people who do the irrigation system there. And so management is talking with them now to have them come and just take a look and give us an idea about how to fix it, or if it's not worth fixing. Very important issue. As you know, we took a look at Building 5, and we've been able to get in front of the train with respect to preparing the trees and also prevent compacting of the soil and to mulch to make walkways so that the workers can get to do their work without causing further damage. In addition, because of the angle, there's concern about if the pachysandra and the ivy die under the plastic, which was there. Then we're going to have a terrible erosion problem, which compounds the issues, which no one had really thought of. So there was all this plastic and plywood on top of it, and all of that plant material would have died, and then we would have had erosion that we would have had to remediate after 2 years, when stuff started sliding down the hill. So Bill Logan came in, gave us a plan, I sent out the diagrams, and that's been taken care of. Again, grounds committee folks went out and oversaw that work that Tom Giubino was actually able to get taken care of. The other concern is that there's damage to trees as a result of Local Law 11. Some of that can wait. But as the scaffolding comes down, we need to take a look at that because some of the trees are, we have a dawn redwood, which is a very precious specimen at Building 6, whose roots have been cut, and we can fix it, we can take care of it, but we need to take care of it soon. And these are shareholders' concerns that have come directly to me or other grounds committee members. Also, disregard for House Rule 22. We have people who are not scooping their poop. And the dog poop. That's right. The dogs, they're not scooping their poop either. But here's the thing. People really think, and there are some pet owners who, Gina, she goes right off, she knows, right out. And some people come out of Building 5, they go right out. But then there are people who think the walkway between Building 5 and 6 is where they're supposed to walk their pets. And as you can see, there are brown spots. So I'm coming up with a flyer that educates about the problems of the waste and letting people's dogs relieve themselves. And I think it might have been Andrea who told me, I think it was Ann Logan had a great idea to print House Rule 22 and the New York City ordinance and send that out. So that's what we're hoping we can do. Moving forward, we are developing organic approaches to lawn care. We're trying to cut back on chemicals. We're working in collaboration with Systems Instructions. We have a member who's on that committee with respect to adhering to the master plan and not doing things that are going to cost money that are not smart. And we will be presenting the board with a manual so that whoever follows me or whomever would have a manual and would not have to start from scratch to come up with all of the resources and the professionals, the policies and the procedures, the timeline for how you plant, water, aerate, and all of that. So that will be one of the things that we're doing. Last but not least, we've been encouraged to enter the New York City Beautiful Tree Bed Contest. And so you will see flyers up hopefully tomorrow. I'm so excited. Hopefully tomorrow. And please, you can vote every day from now till August 3rd. I'm asking you to call everybody you know, all of your relatives, to vote for the Morningside Gardens submission for the best tree bed. And we're going to, my tree doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to drag her up there. We have a tree bed that we're going to beautify hopefully tomorrow so we can get this in.
I just want you to know, that was a great report, but I want you to know Gina is very upset with you. Because she can't use any of the tree beds on Amsterdam Avenue on her walk in the morning. And she just says, Sharon Lockhart Carter has done a bad thing to me.
They don't like that.
Yes, my tree.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I just wanted,
Yes.
just to add, I think a lot of what has been done.
You're on.
I'm on, okay. So I just wanted to add that, being part of the grants committee, that a lot of the work that's been done, I know there's a lot of mention about people in the grants committee, but I wanted to just call out Skip and Liz and Stu Andrews, who've been picking up bags of mulch, moving things around, just backbreaking work that, unfortunately, I'd like to bring up is not our work. It should be covered by Four Seasons. So I think that's an issue that is a separate issue that needs to be addressed. But there's a lot of work that's been put in by people to purchase the flowers, to get stuff ready, and to do the planting. It's backbreaking work, so I just wanted to add to that.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Detta, would you come to the table? Detta gave, in our packet, is a lot of material. She's not going to speak tonight. The question is, does anyone here have a question of her before I give her a charge for within the next 60 days of what our committee must do? No? Okay.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
I said, Detta will not be speaking tonight because she's giving you everything. The reason why she's sitting here right now is to answer a question if you have one. If there are none, I am going to charge her with a duty to perform between now and September. You're all satisfied with it if you want to do that. If you want to ask my questions, please. Yes, Dan.
You report that you make some assertions about the workshop, how it's run, what the members are voting, how the decisions are made, things like that. I have a couple questions. First of all, you haven't had a meeting, right? Of the committee?
Not.
Okay, so these are your opinions specifically. There's not. Are you speaking as you haven't chaired a meeting, so these are not committees?
Well, Dan,
right?
what would help me is if you refer specifically to something.
No, listen, it's easier. His question is simple. He said to you,
number one.
Right.
Okay, no, I said, and I answered it. I said,
Right.
the committee has
That's
to
it.
commit as a whole,
That's
but
it.
no, it is not
Right.
my opinions, it is facts that I researched and a subset of the committee met at
Okay.
different times.
So, one of the things you said was that the executive committee was not representative of workshop members, I think, and that the voting for the executive committee was not, was not made up of members. Is that accurate?
Yeah, okay,
You're asking her, or?
Yeah, I'm asking.
well, let me ask you a question, Dan.
It says in the report that,
My
Right.
report was quite specific, so it helps me to stay on the specifics instead of making
Right.
generalizations
So,
and
wait, so
paraphrasing.
here's the thing. This question doesn't make any sense to me because you have the report, you read the report. You're asking her to reaffirm what she wrote in the report, which is ridiculous. Do you have a question other than that kind of a question to ask her? That would be more appropriate. Otherwise, I'd like to give her a charge and her committee a charge to do something in 60 days. If that would be okay with you. You are on that committee, Dan.
Did you ever talk to the chair of the committee before you drafted the report?
No.
Can I ask to Larry, what is the proposed charge?
I'm going to tell her. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah, okay.
The charge is that in 60 days, our committee must meet as many times as necessary to review that report and to decide what, if anything, should be done to make recommendations to the board that the board will take action on. That's it. And if the committee can't decide, the committee can't decide. But the committee has to meet. It's an amenity. It should be dealt through the amenity committee, and I'm sending it back. And that's the appropriate thing to do. And we have August. Everyone's relaxing in August, except for this committee, except maybe for another committee, and September. And before, I hope at least a week before, it gets into Donna, and Donna will send it out to us, a report from the committee with any recommendations or motions they think the board should deal with at the September meeting. It's simple.
The full amenities.
Yeah. Not one person, the entire amenities committee. Okay?
I have a question.
Yes? I almost forgot.
Yeah, my question is, Beta is the chair of the amenities committee?
Yes?
So that means that it involves all amenities,
Yes, it does.
like a game room,
Yes, it does.
the gym.
Yes, all those people are on the committee. The list is coming. The list, which was not published last year, which will be published this year, of all committees in the month of July that have been established and who's on it, will go out attached to the minutes of this meeting. It's part of my report. It's in your, it's in the board's packet. You may not have gotten the
I saw
packet.
that. I saw.
Oh, you did?
Of that video.
Oh, okay, good.
On the PDF file.
All right?
So, but my question is, so in the next 60 days or 90 days?
60.
60 days. 60 days. So she will meet all committee members, including all different.
She will call a meeting of the committee. Okay,
Yeah. I mean, to be clear on this,
She will address.
are you missing somebody here?
Okay.
There's somebody from every group there, I
there's
understand.
yes, there's the chair of the families, there's somebody appointed by the families activity.
Jill Ford.
Okay, so appointed by the families activity committee? I mean,
Yes.
You asked for a representative.
I did.
You asked for a representative from the gym committee, I'm assuming, right? And that's a role.
Some people, when Larry sent out the memo asking that people who want to join an amenity, like get in touch, so some people got in touch with me, and in some cases, I had to seek out somebody who was interested in that amenity.
But you solicited, I saw your solicitation of some of the memberships here. Did you solicit from the workshop committee, executive committee, who they would like to represent here? Or
I
did you
had
just choose-
already somebody who had volunteered from that group.
Yeah, right, but was he, so you have somebody here that's supposed to represent that group where they were not, in fact, selected by the body that apparently has been elected by the
As I
members.
understood it, I needed somebody from the wood shop, somebody from the ceramics, somebody from the game room and the playroom, and somebody from maybe interested in bike storage, somebody else concerned with parking, and so whether they approached me or if I didn't get somebody approaching me from one of those, I contacted them.
Andy.
So no, I mean, I didn't, that's how it.
I don't know the answer to this question. Did you accept everyone who applied to the applicant?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Did they know that there
All
was
right,
not a
so
lot?
this discussion,
Yes, I did.
this is it. We got a lot of things to do. We're gonna come back in 60 days.
I mean,
We're gonna
I
convene
could
the
say
meeting.
another
She
group-
cannot be responsible when she convenes the meeting dates, as she asked this question. When she convenes the meeting dates, if people don't show up as in other committees, there's nothing she's going to do about making, unless she shoots them or drags them down by wire to get into the meeting. She's going to convene well-announced meetings to show up and conduct her meeting. Am I correct, Etta? Well-announced meetings.
Yes, and I mean,
Right.
if it seems that one amenity is not represented fully enough, you know, I'm not.
You'll see what you have to do.
Like an added person, or
Right. And the committee will work together on this. This is not working in a vacuum. The committee will work on it. You're on the committee, Dan? Okay. All right. Doug?
This issue is new to me as of this meeting, but given what I see here, is there a reason that somebody appointed by the executive committee of the workshop can't be on the amenities committee? I mean, isn't it logical that they would put somebody on this committee?
I have no answer for that. She said that she sought out that people applied to be on the committee. She took the people that applied. She turned no one away. She took a ceramics
I'm
person.
not criticizing anything that it did. All of a sudden, this is like a huge deal. I'm just saying, what's the harm in putting somebody on the committee who's appointed by the executive
I'll have to
committee?
check if the person I have is from that executive committee.
I think she's from the executive committee. One of these
She's not.
people is.
I'm
No?
not
Okay.
saying,
She's okay.
I'm not saying necessarily, I'm just saying, let the executive committee pick somebody to be on the amenities. Wouldn't that be logical in this?
It would be, but I also do want an amenities committee that,
Well, it's
can
fine.
function. Like, I don't, as much as I can.
Get it? You pick one from the executive committee, that's it. Go ahead, Maitri.
So I'm still
I
talking.
have a question.
One second, Chi, Maitri's up.
You give a precedent.
Sure.
All right, Chi, you're in China, so you get to talk first, go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to see how that will start, especially for the big committees. Not like, I think the gym has their own committee and the game room and family activity, but workshop is totally a different thing. There are about, I think, 50 to 60 registered members in different groups. When there's a chairs, the amendment group, are they going to make decisions for workshop groups? I don't think.
No, they're not doing anything. They're gonna make, Chi,
We should do all with all workshop members. And
Chi.
I hope she gets a meeting with all the workshop members.
she's going to make, Chi, the committee's gonna make a presentation to the board. Everything here belongs to the board. Every single room that is used by a committee belongs to the board. The board has to set the rules. So it'll come to the board. We will decide what is to be done. And by September, you'll be home, you'll be here, and we'll have plenty of discussion on it.
Larry?
Yeah, I understand that, but I just make a suggestion because that committee has different groups. I hope before she makes any suggestions to the board in September, she should meet like as many members of that committee, and then maybe make a discussion, maybe one-on-one, to get every person's
Okay.
idea. I'm
Judy.
sure that would work better.
Wait, it's actually Maitri. Yes, I'm sorry, Maitri.
So I actually wanted just clarification on this list of amenities committee, because it's not clear to me who's representing which groups. I think it will be helpful to know which committee, each one of these subcommittees these folks are representing. And just to establish that if people didn't know that they were.
She's gonna tell you.
Okay, no, but let me finish. But then if people didn't know that there was that they could be volunteering, I think we should make it should be much more public. There shouldn't be, if people, like, there should be.
We advertise.
There's a volunteer process.
We advertise. We advertise to the whole
No, but
world.
I'm just saying, that was saying that
Where?
it's
That's
food
not
and
correct.
garden attachment that says.
We advertise to everybody. We put out notice to the whole, every shareholder. Thank you. Okay. Dana, describe who's who on the committee, please, for the record.
Okay, so, myself, Chair, Dan, Board Liaison, Andy Ackerman, another board member, representing another board member.
You also.
No, he's from the shop. He's from the wood shop.
Okay. Susan Chimonis from the wood shop, Marlo Duboulay from the gym, Nolan Hiller, the wood shop, Julie Mesh, interested in bike storage, Marion Butler Mills ceramics, Tanya, interested in a variety of subjects, variety. David Vassar, interested in bike storage, and we have Jill Forger for the game room and the playroom.
So what they're saying is there's 3 woods and 1 swing. That's what this is all about.
No, I don't think so. I think I just want clarity on that.
No.
I see names are.
So you're going to add
But
a
the
member.
fact is that there are 3 woods and 1 swing.
Right.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Right. And you're going to add a member of the executive committee to your committee, okay? Jeanette, you have something?
Well, what you indicated to her, you instructed her to pick someone from the executive committee. I'm more in line with what Doug suggested, which was to let the executive committee pick their own representative.
She's going.
Okay, hold on a second, Larry. The first thing out of Deborah's mouth before you cut her off was, she's interested in having a committee that functions. That to me is a red flag. And it's also a red flag that you cut her off and said you're gonna pick somebody. I subscribe to Doug's view, let the executive committee from the workshop.
I didn't say pick somebody, I said put somebody on it.
All right,
Yeah,
so
but
what I
it's
heard,
still-
okay, fine. I think.
That's a different story.
The executive committee should pick their own representative. That seems to be the right thing.
You know
Somebody has-
what, when, in the previous president, we've had chairs be allowed to appoint their members. Now you're saying that, no, the chair of the committee can't appoint the members. What I'm saying is that I'm a volunteer here, and I need to have a committee that can function and can function peacefully and can function constructively. And I am, I cannot do a service to this community if I know I'm gonna have to go into a meeting and there's going to be fighting or unreasonableness. So, and
She
in
has
the
a right,
past,
as the chair, to pick somebody
in
on
the
the
past,
committee,
we've
and that's
let
the way
chairs
it'll be.
have
She's right.
some, we've let them have full
That's it,
control.
there's no doubt about it, she has a right to do it, and that's what you'll do. This discussion is,
What you said before?
no, she's right, she made an argument, and I agreed with her now. You are right, please do that. This discussion is finished. We're gonna see in 60 days what comes out of it. Dan will be there, Andy will be there, there'll be people all over, the committee's going one larger, that's it. Thank you, Deb.
I think people with opposing opinions can actually come to better agreement.
I didn't say they can't.
But I'm just
Dan will present
suggesting-
more than enough opposing agreements for everybody.
Yes, I mean,
I'm sure.
I did not staff this committee up with people all like-minded.
You said you wanted people who would cooperate. So you
That's
want-
not like-mindedness. But okay, thank you, Deb. Thank you, Deb. All right, treasurer's report.
We met last night, and along with CSR producing all the reports we're used to, including a new one, are finally complete. So we're in very good shape with our financial reports, including, I really love this, basically an executive summary that Russell puts together. Russell is also now coming to all finance committee meetings, and he is committed to attending all of them, which I greatly appreciate. So for the numbers, we have, I think there are things, there's evidence here that CSR is doing some good things for us. There are a lot of expenses, a lot of our expenses are under budget. Supplies, maintenance, professional fees, administration, and then we have repairs are over by 25,000, which is a very small number. What we do have is problems. So we're basically over $1 million in, on a cash basis deficit at this point, which is not a real number, but that's what the books show. About half of that is payroll, energy, and taxes, which are mostly due to timing or a bookkeeping error that's been identified. And the remainder is $488,000. We're over budget on energy. I talked to our auditor, Mindy Eisenberg Stark, and she says about 50 of that we can attribute to 2011 deliveries. So we have over $400,000. We're over budget on fuel costs. That we believe there's every reason to expect that it's due. That a lot of that, if not all of it, is associated with the chimney project, because especially when we had both boilers running, and especially before we had the gas, we're burning fuel oil, which is much more expensive than gas. So the financial committee unanimously agreed. So we discussed this, that the idea of capitalizing the expenses that are associated with the capital project, namely the chimney, should be considered. So there was a unanimously passed motion, committee motion. That doesn't need a second because it came from the committee. Oh dear.
Shall I read it?
Yeah, you have it.
Yes. Move that our accountants, MES, be directed to assess additional fuel expense occasioned by the absence of the chimney, comma, our inability to use the central heating plant, comma, the necessity to use temporary boilers, and the recommendation from our accountants, MES, on capitalization of excess fuel costs. Okay, that's the motion. Mr. Chairman of the Finance Committee, I'd like to make a friendly amendment.
Thank you.
Okay. Friendly amendment would be this. This to be done in conformity with GAAP, General Accounting, Accepted Accounting Principles, for CIRAS, which is the Common Interest Realty Associations. Any additional fee to be paid Mindy Eisenberg Stark, CPA, CFE, for this analysis shall not exceed $5,000. This particular thing will exceed our contract with us for our auditing. Because this is going to require putting a lot of information together and researching what we did and how we did it. So we're probably going to have to pay something about $5,000. It may not come out to that, but we need a number. Okay? Do you accept the friendly amendment? Okay.
Okay.
Discussion.
The purpose of this, Andy, would be to basically identify ways that we can curb future remediate costs.
So
the
the-
excess costs?
There are basically two things here. One is do the calculation. You have to take into heating days and all this stuff. It's, you know, straightforward, but it's a non-trivial calculation. And the other is to assess whether this is within generally accepted accounting practices, or whatever that acronym is, to capitalize this expense, if that's okay for co-ops.
Any other, what? I can't hear.
Sorry, it would be about $5,000.
A maximum of $5,000.
She's gonna get, she needs hours.
Yeah.
I don't know how many, but we're figuring 5,000. If she says, I need to, this is what's gonna cost me, then we'll come back and we'll decide how we're gonna do it. But it's enough to get us started. I mean, because she's gonna do this simultaneously with the 6-month audit.
Right.
It's going on at the same time.
So she hasn't identified, I thought 5,000 was coming from her.
No, we think, we want to say to her, Mindy, we want you to do this, we've authorized $5,000, can you do it? And she'll say, yes, I can do it for 5,000 or less, or I'm gonna need more, and then she'll come back and tell us what that is, and we'll make a motion. But I don't think she's gonna say, I can't do it unless I get paid the money in front. That's not the way she's worked with us, so I think she knows we're, you know, a loyal client. Okay?
All right.
All right, any other discussion? Yes, Dan, please.
No,
So can I, all right, so can we finish this up? Any other discussion on this topic? No?
Jake?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, hearing none. All right, so we're gonna have, since I hear nothing else about discussion, we're gonna move to the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
There she is, see? Okay, it's unanimous, thank you. All right, next we're up is the board member motion, which happens to be Andy Ackerman.
Okay, this is kind of a treasury-related. So whereas the board of directors provided block funding to various committees and groups in the past, and whereas in some cases such funds have not been depleted within a board year, be it so resolved that henceforth any committee or group except MRHS will no longer receive block funding, and be it further resolved that each committee or group will have its own GL, general ledger code, listed in the operating budget, and will be permitted to spend funds up to their budget line by submitting each specific request for payment to the treasurer, and after obtaining the treasurer's approval, submitting an invoice to MHHC for payment by MHHC, and be it further resolved that such expenditures be consistent with the mission of the committee or group.
Second? Second. Okay, do you wish to address
And
it?
it's very simple. Our duties as the board is to, fiduciary duties includes oversight of how our funds are spent. And so this is just a way to make sure that money is being spent in a way that we're seeing. Instead of giving out block funding and letting committees decide how they want to spend their money,
Yes.
Yes.
that is what has been done in the past. Here's a whole bunch of money, you can do whatever you want with it. And this is the way, here's how much you can spend, and then you come to us and say, what are you gonna spend it for? Or you say, I just spent some money, here's what I spent it on, and we reimburse that way. And it'll be a very simple process where it's like they're gonna say what it was. There's not gonna be a big value decision. It's like, we're gonna work out some forms. This form's gonna say how much we have spent, how much our budget is, and what this is for. And if it's less, and it doesn't put you over budget, and it seems like a reasonable thing within the committee's purview, then the treasurer will sign on.
The process.
Actually.
Or under office.
Yeah, so.
Good, John, 1 second. John?
Expand the treasurer to other offices.
Yeah, you're offering a friendly amendment?
Yes.
Yes.
So-
Treasurer or other officer, I might not be around.
Payment to officers and obtaining an officer's approval, right? So we're gonna say the request for payment to an officer. All right, is that what we're looking at?
Treasurer or other officer.
Treasurer, all right, so to the treasurer or other officer. Everyone see that?
Yes.
And after obtaining the treasurer or other officer's approval. So that makes it easy, they can get to anybody, all right?
But Larry, no one officer can approve the expense, right?
Yeah.
It's a line item.
Oh,
It's a
yeah,
line
it's already
item.
been budgeted, actually,
Yeah,
yeah, all right, yeah, okay.
So other officers approval. All right, I think I got it. Everyone have it? Everyone know? Maitri.
So is this, is there any potential negative of, like, could this cause a bottleneck or slow things down? Is this, I'm just trying to see, I guess I'm not quite grasping.
Well, the downside is it's more work for the treasurer.
Okay, that's fine.
What do you want to say?
All right,
And,
well,
yeah, there's a impulse buys. I mean, if you have the money in your pocket, you can still do an impulse buy and just write the form up. So to the degree that someone doesn't have money and they need to spend the money today, that's where they'll get in the way of it.
but if there's money budgeted and then it's allocated.
And then if they're
basically,
willing to wait till
we're-
tomorrow, someone will be
Right.
around, we can do this on the phone, they can call the office can call me, saying, here's the number, here's what they're sending, and I can say, you initial it, and it goes forward.
So it's a pre-auth, or is it like a?
It's just,
So I'm just trying to.
it's not, it's what it's saying is, do you want to get access to your money?
Right,
It's a line item.
right.
To access the money, you need an officer to say, yeah, you can have the money.
So it's a pre-authorization?
Yes, yeah. Now, that works two ways, if you think about it. If you have someone who's doing, let's say you're having someone who's doing printing, you know the cost of the printing. You come to the officer, you say, this is what we're printing for the committee. Like, let's use Sharon's example, she's doing the printing for the co-op. She comes to us, says, this is the printer, this is what he wants to charge, this is what he's printing. Okay, we'll cut a check and send it to him. It's done.
And that comes out of the grounds committee budget.
Right, it'll show grounds committee, they had, let's say they had $2,000 to spend, it cost them $400 for printing. Okay, now they have, how much left?
1,000.
No, $2,400, right? Okay.
We can track those.
I feel like I'm doing Howard Stern math, which is impossible. So, you know what I mean? So they know how much they're spending, we know where, and when they reach the bottom line, when they're at zero, they have to come to us for more money, and I hope we can do it for them, but otherwise, they're finished their budget. They have to budget it up. On the other hand, if they don't choose to spend one $400 amount of money out of a $2,000 budget, at the end of the year, we still have all that money. We don't have to ask them back, we don't have to ask for accounting, and you can account for it. It's a proper accounting procedure. I mean, it's our money, it's the shareholders' money, you have to account for it.
But if she says, I want to have someone come and speak to Morningside Guards about X, I want to spend $1,000.
Right. We'll approve it.
Andy might say,
No,
why?
yeah.
No, but if it's,
I think that's your question.
Right, so
Right.
then get Andy, because that he's not really part of the committee, but he would have more authority than he really should.
yeah, but if the committee's saying we want this person to come and speak, there's a
Right.
topic they're speaking on.
I know, but I'm saying that it's up to what's
No,
the discretion.
As long as it deals, if it's grounds committee, it deals with grounds work, no one's gonna dispute anything.
I think the problem comes in is he says, they say we want them to come speak, they're going to have to dinner afterwards. Or that's an
that is
issue.
not
The party might be an issue, you know what I mean? Unless there's a lot of wine, then I'll be going to that party. All right, are we good? All right, hearing no more discussion, everyone knows the way it was a friendly amendment, it's done. All in favor? G?
Alright, yes.
Good, unanimous, okay. So we've just finished that. And we're up to my report, which is the list of the committees, which you've seen, which will be, one name has to be added to one list. Yes? Okay, the Long Range Planning Committee has a new member, Louis Papier. Do we not spell that last name? Okay, Papier. There he is, that's Louis Papier. Look, he heard his name, he arrived in the room.
I think for our records, because we need to put this in our, what is it, it's the long range planning?
Yes.
Louis?
Louis Papier. L-O-L-E-W-I-S? L-E-W-I-S. Sorry, Louis.
P-A-P-I-E-R.
Dawn, I can send you.
She'll send it.
Okay, never mind.
Everything will go to you. Okay? My report's easy. We've had, and she's on the amenities. Right, but she announced that she speaks. Okay? So, this month, we've had a productive month, I think. Things were moving along. The chimney was going at a snail's pace. I look by that chimney and it just makes me sick every day. I'll tell you this, that the specification for the chimney was that he was supposed to do, by design, he's supposed to just do some brickwork in the basement of the chimney, and he decided he was gonna jackhammer it out. And that he was thrown off the property, and he had to make it to plan. You have to have something built to plan. He went out and got a new plan, and then he jackhammered it out.
Who's he, Larry? Sorry.
Todd.
Okay.
Todd, what's his name?
International Chimney.
International Chimney.
Okay.
He's an amazing guy, but we'll be talking about this later, but I just want you to know the kind of things that have been going on with this chimney. It's an amazing thing. Okay? Anything else? We're gonna close.
I have one more thing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I want to recognize one of the board members here.
Oh, no, please, stop. Thank you. Let's move on.
Okay, we'll move on. We'll go into closed session. Thank you very much for attending. It is now, we closed at 9:07. Good. I told you.
Oh, you're gonna do it.
I told you. I'm moving. I'm moving.